I've led teams of hundreds through technology shifts that rewrote entire industries. And I can tell you flat, the leadership model most companies are running right now was designed for a world that no longer exists. We're not talking about tweaking your org chart or adding a new VP role. We're talking about a ground-up redesign of what it actually means to lead. The old playbooks, they assume stability, they assume time to plan. That assumption just died. For decades, the business world rewarded the loudest voice in the room, the leader who demanded compliance, the executive whose authority came from title and volume. That model is dying. Not because it's morally wrong, because it's operationally obsolete. When your organization needs to move faster than any single person can comprehend, blind obedience becomes a liability. You can't command your way through complexity you don't understand. The leader who says, "Do it because I said so," is now the leader who can't explain why. I've worked in nuclear and aviation, industries where getting it wrong isn't an option. In those environments, you learn fast that command and control has a shelf life. The iron fist leader, the executive who rules by fear and title, that model didn't die because we all read management books. It died because it can't process information fast enough. Here's the thing about prehistoric leadership. It worked perfectly when the world moved at rotary phone speed. You had time to escalate, time to deliberate, time for the boss to decide. Now the decision window is shorter than the approval chain. You can still run your organization like a 1980s factory floor if you want. Just know, your competitors aren't. The question isn't whether you like the new model. It's whether you'll still be leading when the dust settles. The new model looks nothing like what we were taught. The modern leader isn't locked in a corner office. They're visible. They share context relentlessly. They build environments where people actually want to contribute, not because they're told to, but because they understand where the organization is going. I've watched this shift happen in real time. The executives who adapted didn't become softer. They became faster. Because when your team understands the mission, you don't need to micromanage the tactics. You need to get out of the way. The leaders who can't make that shift, they're the ones still waiting for someone to forward them the memo. The technology curve explains why this shift isn't optional anymore. 40 years ago, we had Pong, 2 rectangles, and a dot. Now we have photorealistic simulations running in real time. We're building systems we can barely comprehend, day by day, faster than any single brain can process. And here's the problem. Most leadership models assume you have time to escalate a decision to the person with the biggest office. You don't. By the time the answer comes back down the chain, the question has changed twice. You can't bark orders fast enough to keep up with reality moving at this speed. You need people who can act without waiting for permission. The workflow is splitting in 2. Step 1. Delegate the repetitive work to AI. Step 2. Humans collaborate on problems the machines haven't seen yet, which means problem solving just became your only scarce resource. Competing on output, on price, that's over. The value now is in how creatively your team can tackle something an AI hasn't been trained on. I've negotiated $100 million deals. The contract terms mattered, but the real edge was always the team that could think around corners. Now that's the entire game. Which brings us to the leadership crisis and why most executives are still playing by yesterday's rules. Most organizations are still run by leaders who think certainty is a skill. The command and control executive. The leader whose strategy is "because I said so." The one who bends every data point until it confirms what they already decided. I've seen this up close. The most dangerous leader in the room isn't the one who's wrong. It's the one who can't imagine they might be. When you're leading by manipulating information to fit your worldview, you're not building a strategy. You're building a monument to your own blind spots. And here's the part nobody wants to hear. That leader isn't some distant tyrant. It's probably someone on your exec team right now. The iron fist doesn't fail dramatically. It fails quietly, one missed signal at a time, until the cliff arrives. The business world knows something is broken. 85% of companies now report an urgent need to develop employees with actual leadership potential, not management potential, leadership potential. That's not a skills gap. That's a crisis of succession. Almost every organization out there recognizes the old model doesn't work anymore, and they're desperately hunting for people who can guide teams through terrain the executives don't understand themselves. Which brings us to the only model that actually scales when the world moves faster than any one person can process: the relationship economy. The old leadership currency was authority, title, the corner office, the ability to say, "Do it because I said so." That currency just devalued. What actually buys loyalty now? What gets people to move fast, think hard, solve problems you haven't seen yet, is trust. Transparency, the willingness to be open about what you know and what you don't. I've led teams of hundreds. The moment they stopped waiting for orders and started solving problems, it wasn't when I got better at commanding. It was when I got better at explaining. We spent decades training leaders to hoard information like it was leverage. Turns out it was just friction. So what does a future leader actually look like? 9 traits show up again and again. Ask sharp questions. Listen without performing. Be someone people trust by default. Develop the people around you. Drive toward results. Think like you own the outcome. Communicate without jargon. Relate to people across the org chart. Treat the intern and the CEO with the same respect. Notice something? Every single one of those is about emotional intelligence and lifting others up. Not a single one is be the smartest person in the room or have the loudest opinion in the meeting. If you want to spot a future leader, don't look for the person shouting the loudest. Look for the person asking the question nobody else thought to ask and actually waiting for the answer. That's the trait that scales. I've spent years watching the gap between these two models play out in real organizations. The boss model? It's all hierarchy and ego. Who reports to whom? Who gets the parking spot? Who speaks first in the meeting? Collaborative leadership flips that entirely. It's about the work, not the title. The participation, not the permission. Here's what changed. The internet flattened information access. You can't hoard knowledge anymore when your intern has the same search bar you do, which means the fancy title buys you nothing if you can't mobilize the room. It's no longer about who's in charge, it's about what gets built. The leadership model that actually scales. Here's the reality. When people feel respected and understand the mission, they don't just comply. They solve problems you haven't seen yet. That's not soft leadership. That's operational advantage. Technology leveled the playing field. The leaders still relying on title and volume? They're watching from the sidelines. The organizations that win won't be led by the loudest voice in the room. They'll be led by the clearest one. If you're ready to lead what comes next, follow for more.